Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. So, ठीक है भाई. 6:30 बजे इतने सारे लोग
Yes,
आ गए.
sir.
I didn't expect. मुझे लगा था आप लोग नहीं आओगे. So thank you for coming. और before we begin our class, एक बात बताओ, आप सभी की preparations कैसे चल रही, पढ़ाई कैसी चल रही है?
Good.
Okay. ठीक है. So अच्छा, एक दो लोग ही रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हैं यार. बाकी लोग सभी बिजी हो क्या?
नहीं सर ये
Sir.
ओके ओके ठीक है. चलो. सो यस हर्ष, आई एम ओके. आई एम गुड, है ना? सो ओके, सो नाइस टू मीट यू ऑल अगेन, है ना? सो एक चीज ये था ही, है ना, ये क्लास किस चीज की, आई थिंक ये आप सभी को पता है ना? हम लोग जो है डेटाबेसेस के बारे में थोड़ा पढ़ेंगे, है ना? वेल लुक एट द CRUD ऑपरेशंस स्पेसिफिकली, है ना? माई सीक्वल हम लोग सीखने जा रहे हैं, है ना? अच्छा ये बताओ, आप लोगों में से ऐसा कोई है जिसने पहले कभी डेटाबेसेस पे काम किया हो, या जो है माई सीक्वल से फेमिलियर है थोड़े बहुत, या सभी जो है या सारे जो है जितने हम सब नोविस है, मीन सभी बिगनर है, वी डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट इट, वी haven't used it any time soon, या before these classes.
I have learned in 12th class that's little bit SQL.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है. Sandhya, don't worry, I will be speaking in English only. Yeah. I was just asking ki, is there anyone who is familiar with the with SQL, or we are just we are beginner, है ना? So the majority are saying that they are the beginner, है ना? I was asking because we'll have to conduct the classes like that, you know. If the majority is the beginner, you know, then obviously we'll have to start from the grounds up, you know. We'll have to treat everything from the level of a novice, you know. Our discussion will be oriented like that. That's why I was asking. So, ठीक है. Okay. So let's begin, you know. I'll be asking a few questions just to get informed, you know. Or general questions. I'll be asking a few general questions, you know. Any one of you can answer. Okay. So it has been months now, no, since since we are studying your data science, you know. And in the data science, the word data is there, you know. Abhi tak, है ना, till now in data science, you know, you all must have encountered a lot of data, you know, which must have been in different formats, you know. What was the most common format that you all encountered?
CSV.
CSV, you know, CSV. Sometimes you might have also gotten Excel sheets, isn't it?
Yeah, sometime might be in JSON format also.
Yeah, you know, so these were the okay. Uh, Acha, when you are dealing with a CSV or an Excel file, you know, the issue is not the issue. I will say the amount of data that you can handle in an Excel sheet or in a CSV format, or be it a JSON, you know, it's kind of limited. You know, if the amount of data gets very large, you know, which will, you know, which eventually will. So these file formats, and these will not be sufficient to deal with it, isn't it? No, Akhil, you can't say a zip file. Zip file is not a format to store data. Okay, that's the that is used for compressing, you know. So okay, acha, chalo, if we talk about this, your Excel sheets, you know, or a CSV file, you know, these have, in this you store data in which format? These are in form of tables, isn't it? These are in form of tables. You have some rows and you have some columns, है है ना. But the problem is all the data that you will have, है ना, the data that you contain in an Excel sheet or in a CSV file, है ना, they might be related to each other, they might not be related to each other, है ना, but still they are present in the same single file, है ना. They are not differentiated, है ना, एक दूसरे से वो differentiated नहीं होते हैं, है ना. So such way of storing data in these formats, है ना, this format of this way of storing the data is called as flat files, है ना. These files are called flat, है ना. Why these are called flat? Because there's no differentiation, है ना, or categorization of the data as per the relation between them, है ना. Everything is stored in a single file, है ना. An Excel sheet may contain multiple sheets, है ना, but it is still is a single file, है ना. But this way of storing data, it is not so convenient when you have large amounts of data coming in, and also it may happen that the data that you contain and the data that is coming in may have some relation between them, or you want to suppose, let's say, restrict the access to some information, है ना. तो इस तरह की अगर कुछ conditions होते हैं, if you have some conditions like this, है ना, in that case these flat storage systems, है ना, these flat file systems, they are not so efficient, okay. And in many cases they are rendered useless as well, है ना. These will not be suitable at all, है ना. So so instead of using these, है ना, instead of using this, what we do, है ना, if you have large amount of data which may be related to each other, है ना, in that case you use RDBMS systems, है ना, you use relational database, है ना. So can anybody guess what is a relational database? Like if I ask you what is a relational database, so can I all take an educated guess?
Interrelated data.
Sorry?
If the data is divided into 2 or 3 sheets, then how can we extract those data into a single sheet?
Hmm.
Rows and
So,
column.
Hmm. See, data is everywhere, and so are the databases, you know. But there are different types of databases. And sometimes you'll see that you have a flat file system to store the data, and that might be more convenient. Sometimes you may have a relational database, sometimes you may have a non-relational database, you know, depending on the type of information or the type of store, the type of of organization you're working with or the use case, you know, your storage system may be different, you know. But when you look around, you know, the most popular, you know, the most widely used data system, you know, the data storage system which is used is your relational database, you know. So what is a relational database? Let's take an example. Suppose if you are let's take an example of an e-commerce website, you know. So an e-commerce website has a lot of products on it, a product listed on it, isn't it? But these products may be related, and they may belong to the same product category, है ना. Like suppose if we take a mobile phone, है ना, a mobile phone is a product, है ना, which is, but this mobile phone may be of different types, है ना. It may be a smartphone, it may be a general, like जैसे जो पहले नोकिया वाले फोन आते थे, है ना, just a just a simple phone which is capable of only dialing, है ना. It may be an Android smartphone, it may be your iPhone, है ना. So but whatever phone you will see, है ना, if you want to differentiate them, you know, you will see that they will have some tags labeled on them, you know. They have some tags with the they will have some tags associated with them, isn't it? Like if you look at your iPhone, you know, it may have some tag associated as iPhone, iOS, you know, then smartphone, then maybe mobile phone, you know. Similarly for your Android device, you know, it may have tags of, maybe there's the name of the company, you know, ki hashtag Vivo, Oppo, whatever, you know. And there may be a tag like the Android, you know, Android 14, or the name of the Android version, and it could be in the tag. And then there would be this tag of smartphone, mobile phone, etc. You know, so will be the case for your general phone as well. You know, it will just be categorized under the mobile phone. You know, so they're different products, but they are all. But if you'll inspect their tags, you know, if you'll inspect their tags, you'll find they will have something in common between them. You know, like if you look at the tags which are present for an iPhone and the tags which are present in your Android phone and in your Android phone's description, you know, would you see any tag common in them between them? Yes, no. Would you have seen any tags common between the Android, between the description of your Android phone and your this iPhone? आप चुप रहोगे तो फिर मैं भी चुप रहूंगा, फिर पूरी क्लास साइलेंस में जाएगी. It just gave the example, Karan. We are all logged in, और जो है physically present है, are we present mentally over here, और या फिर just log in करके बैठ गए हैं?
Sir, unable to connect what you are saying, sir. To relate it, it's difficult.
Okay, चलो ठीक है.
सर दोनों स्मार्टफोन है सर ये टैग.
So what I'm saying is कि like suppose if you go on the description of any suppose if I go and visit Flipkart, okay, just give it a second to load. And if I go under this electronics section, you know, see the data is organized here in form of what? These tags, isn't it? So if I'm under electronics sections, and then I'm sure that I'll be able to find your laptops, mobiles, etc. These listed under it. You know, similarly, suppose if I go to this mobiles category, you know, suppose if I go here, you know, and if I'm suppose shopping for some phone, you know, so suppose if I click on this, okay, and if you'll go through its tag, you know, if you'll go through its description, you'll find a lot of you'll find a lot of values listed here, you know. उसके specifications, है ना, you'll find the specifications like what kind of device it is, you know, what kind of what kind of operating system it runs on, you know, the name of the manufacturer, you know, etc. You know, so what I'm trying to say here is if we went under this mobiles category, you know, if we went under this mobiles category, you know, all this listing, you know, you have a lot of listings over here, isn't it? Depending on the brand name, you know, Realme, Poco, Infinix, Apple, Me, etc. You know, your customer ratings, you know, your RAM which is available, screen size, battery capacity, you know. So what do you all think this is? You know, if we will be storing this data, you know, see, whenever you are visiting this website, you know, so this website is doing what? It is picking up this data, it is fetching this data from the server, you know. So this server must have stored it somewhere, you know, it must have collection of this data stored on it somewhere, you know, in some form, you know. It may be in form of a NoSQL database, it may be in form of a SQL database. So for now, let's forget that there is any other different type of data storage that can be possible. Let's assume everything is stored in a SQL database, you know. So the point that I'm trying to make is here, and if you are going to arrange the information about all the mobile phones which are listed on this website, you know, it will be in form of a table, isn't it? It will be in form of a table, but these tables, they will contain tags, tags will be like what? The name of the columns, and these columns would be what? They would be these columns, the name of the columns would contain what? It would contain the description about the product, like suppose if I'm clicking on the Realme, there would be a file, there could be an Excel sheet which contains all the products which are made by Realme, and in that you will find what? The name of the phone, the operating system it works on, and it may also contain information like the battery capacity, the screen size, etc. So these columns which will be present, the name of the columns which will be present, you can consider them as tags. Similarly, suppose if I go for the Samsung, suppose if I go for the Samsung phone, it will also contain the listing. This table will also contain all the listing of all the phones which are manufactured by Samsung and sold on this particular platform, isn't it? So, what do you think the table would look like, in which the description of all the phones would be present, which are made by this, which are listed on Flipkart and manufactured by Samsung? It will also contain column names, isn't it? Like name of the phone, the the operating system, isn't it? The size of the screen, the price, etc. Isn't it? Category name. ये सारी चीजें होंगी या नहीं होंगी? All these things would be present in the table or not? Hmm? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So suppose just 1 second. So if you'll see, it will have your tables listed like this. This data set, the database that this website will be accessing, it will have some tables listed. It will be accessing data from the tables. But instead of storing all the data in a single table, all the data will not be stored in a single table. It will consist of multiple tables. Like here, like the table that I have drawn over here, this could contain information about the phones made by Realme. Similarly, you can have another table which looks similar to this, and it might contain information about all the products made by Samsung and so on. So when the amount of data, like when the amount of data gets very large, like in the case of Flipkart, will it be feasible for us to store all this in form of a single Excel sheet or a Google sheet?
No, sir.
Would it be no? Somebody said no. So it will not be it will not be operationally feasible. Acha, you can, but the efficiency at which you will be accessing the data will be affected a lot. And the second point is, suppose if you have all the data stored in a single file, if you have all the data stored in a single Excel file, it may happen that you do not want to give access to all the information which is present in the sheet to every single person. ऐसा हो सकता है ना कि when you are sharing the data, you want only a specific person, a specific people to access a specific information, isn't it? You kind of want to restrict the amount of information they can see. And like as a customer, we cannot see the overall number of, we cannot see the number of phones present in the stock of your Flipkart. We do not have access to that. But the sheet that would contain, the sheet that you would be making, as a company, it will contain that information also. So suppose if I'm sharing this sheet with everyone, everyone will have access to all the information which is present in the sheet. I won't be able to restrict it, isn't it? And with the amount of information, with the number of categories which are present on these on Flipkart, the number of columns, can you imagine how large it will be? The number of columns that it will contain, your sheet will contain, it will be very, very large, isn't it? Like just for a mobile phone category, you will have hundreds of columns, isn't it? So like was suppose even for 10 if for a single company, if the company has to make like let's say 10 or 12 columns, then there might be like 15 or 20 mobile brands present which it would be selling, so 20 times 12 make it will make it hundreds of columns, so the retrieval of information or making an analytics on it will become very, very inefficient, it will become very difficult, as well as this process will be quite inefficient, so instead of this, the better way to store the data will be what? To store it in different tables, like Akhil was saying, he is sent in the chat, he store in multiple Excel sheets, we can store the information in multiple Excel sheets, but still the problem will be what? The problem with the Excel sheet will be what? The amount of data that an Excel sheet can contain is again restricted. You cannot have more than 10 million rows in your Excel sheet. And the number of transactions which are going on an e-commerce website like Flipkart, ये तो इनके daily के numbers है. This will be the daily number. You cannot store more information on it like this. So Excel sheets are out of the question. But one idea can be carried forward, like these multiple sheets that you will make in the Excel, just 1 second, just 1 second,
Excuse me, sir.
let me open. Yes,
Sir, your screen is not visible.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying give me a second. I'm sharing my screen, just wait. So yeah, I hope it's visible now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here, suppose if you open an Excel sheet like this, in your first sheet, in your first sheet, suppose you store information about the products made by company A, and you can rename it, and then in the second sheet you can store the information made by company B, then add another sheet to the same file, add hundreds of sheets, but the problem here will be what? Again, when you have to retrieve the information, this whole file will be accessible by everyone, है ना? जिसके भी साथ आप शेयर करोगे ये पूरी फाइल जाएगी, है ना? किसी एक पर्टिकुलर शीट को जो है हमें अगर देना हो तो, है ना, इशू होगा. अच्छा, दूसरा, लेकिन हम लोग जो एक आइडिया पे बात कर रहे थे, है ना, वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द आइडिया व्हिच कैन बी कैरिड फॉरवर्ड, है ना, लाइक सपोज इन शीट 1, है ना, we are storing information about the company called Realme, the products made by Realme, and the column names would contain what, the company name, sorry, the table can have the name of the company, the second column you can have the name of the product name, and the third column may have a category, it called, let's say, screen size, or better yet, operating system, then maybe it's price, then maybe other features, like your screen size, or
Camera, memory.
the battery capacity, etc. So and if you'll go to the second sheet, here also again you'll be listing what? The name of the company, you'll list the name of the company, then the name of the what was it? The second one, the product name and so on, इसमें भी आप जो यहाँ पे product name रखते हैं, you would keep the product name, then your operating system, then the other features of the phone, etc. ठीक है? Same will go for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or whatever n number of companies you have, but if you look at your sheets here, when you'll be revisiting your sheets, what you can see, like the sheet 1 and sheet 2, they will be sharing some common tags. By tags, what I mean is the name of the column. This feature will be common in both the sheets. This company, and there is the name again. We have another column called company again. So in sheet one also you have product name, and in sheet two also you have product name. And in sheet three you have, sorry, in the third column you have operating system listed. Similarly, in sheet two again you have your operating system listed. There might be other columns which have other names. Let's say suppose there's this column, this gibberish, whatever garbage values we have given here, some columns like this. But if you will see, if you'll compare these two sheets, they may have the same names of the columns, or some of the column names may be different between them. But if you want to suppose, if you are looking at a sheet one and sheet two, since you have some column names common between them, you have some columns which are common between both of these sheets. So what you can do, you can establish some kind of relation between these two sheets over here. And what these sheets are containing, these are containing information about the products made by company A and company B. Sheet one, let's say, has products made of by Realme, and your sheet two has products made by, let's say, some other company, this is Samsung.
Oppo.
Yeah, whatever. So if you look at these two sheets, and still you will see what, that both of them have some columns in common. Like you can look at the OS. If you look at the OS over here, and you will see that the OS, the operating system listed under Samsung will be same, and in the Realme also it will be same. Both are making Android products. Both are using the Android software. So depending on these columns, since the two tables that you are looking at, they have some column names in common. So you can establish some kind of relation between them. And what kind of relation you can establish, like whether they are whether you are looking at the same category of the products or not. Like suppose if you are looking at this product table, under, sorry, and in this product column, the names could be different. The names could be different. But suppose with every name, if it is a mobile, वहाँ पे if you are using some kind of code for mobile phone, or if you are looking at the operating system, if you have Android, so suppose if we assume, if the operating system is OS, if the OS is Android, then the company is manufacturing a mobile phone. So we can establish such kind of relations between these two sheets, or between these two different tables, and we can perform aggregations on the data which is present on these two different sheets. So so any such kind of any such kind of tables, any such kind of data storage systems in which the tables are related to each other, because of the common tags between them. These tags is what, by tags I mean is this name of the columns. They may have some similarity between them. So if your tables have similarity between them, then such such data sets, they are called related. And to manage to manage such data sets, or the databases, we have softwares called we have software. Yes, I know I've just stopped sharing the screen. you know so so if you have a collection of such data sets, you'll get a database. And if your data sets are related to each other, then this collection will be termed as a relational database. Acha, if I ask you what is a database, database is what? Database is nothing but a mere collection of a structure. It is a mere collection of some data sets, of some data points, which may be collected in different tables or different Excel sheets maybe. अब यहाँ पे you had a file called mobiles, which contains, let's say, 20 sheets. But this e-commerce website like Flipkart will not have only one category. You will need another file, another Excel sheet to contain information about all the laptops that it is selling. You will have to you will have to have another file है ना, called, let's say, smartwatches, है ना, to list all the smartwatches it is selling, है ना. So if you look at it, है ना, your website will have thousands of product listed under different categories, है ना. So some of these products may be related to each other, some may not be related to each other, है ना. But to manage such a large database, it will not be suggested, है ना, it will not be useful for us to use an Excel sheet, है ना. We will not be storing them in an Excel format, है ना. Although the data will be stored in form of a table, है ना, but we need a better system, है ना. We need a better system to store them, है na. That's where your relational databases come in, है na. So in relational databases, you will see that the tables which are present in your database, है ना, they might have some relationship between them, है ना. You can establish some relations between them depending on the commonality between them, है ना, depending on the commonality which is present in those data sets. Okay, so you have many relational databases, है ना, to work with, है na. Like you have your MySQL, you have Oracle databases, है ना, you have Postgres and so on, है na. So what we'll be learning here, है na, we'll be focusing on just one, है na. We will be focusing on just on one database system, है na. Acha, see, this relational database and RDBMS, है ना, these are two different things, है ना. Relational database is a collection of a data which might be related to each other. If you have large amount of data available with you, है ना, you need a software to manage it, है ना, you need a software to interact with it, है ना. So relational database management system, or RDBMS, is the software which enables you to handle such data sets, है ना, or such databases, है ना, which are relational in nature, है ना. So if anybody asks, what is a relational database, so what would you all answer? Just let me know. Like suppose I'm asking as an interviewer, suppose, you know, what is a explain what is a relational database. What would you guys tell?
Structured data.
Sorry, Mohit, can you
Structured data.
repeat?
Structured data. It means line, rows and column. Data in rows and column.
So that is a spreadsheet,
Yes, relational data.
but you are saying if you have your data spread in tables and in form of rows and columns, then that is a spreadsheet. How is it different from a then how it is what makes it how would you differentiate a relational database from an Excel sheet? What's the difference?
We can access any rows and any column from that data.
वो तो एक्सेल शीट से भी कर सकते हैं.
Sir, we can say tables in the database are related to each other.
One person at a time, please. So Shri, you were saying something?
The relational database is a collection of multiple tables.
Okay, collection of multiple tables.
Which is contained many types of categories in different tables.
Sir, it is a relation between them in each table.
Sir, we can say that this is a organized data, that is predefined relation in between the columns and that one or more tables.
ठीक है, करण का जो है अभी तक का सबसे एक्यूरेट डिस्क्रिप्शन रहा है ना. Look at the chat box, what he has written, है ना. See, if you need to define a relational database in a line or two, and the best way to say is कि a relational database is a type of database that stores and provides access to data points, है ना, which are related to one another, है ना. And how they are related to one another, how we can identify it by looking at the name of the columns, है ना. If they have same name of if the name of the columns are same, है ना, then obviously they will contain similar type of information, same type of information, and hence we can intuitively establish a relation between them, isn't it? Like suppose if you have, if you talk about data set for a school, you know, suppose in a school there are different there are different departments, you know. Suppose there is your administrative department, there is your academic department, there might be your sports department, and so on, you know. So see, all these departments will need to have information about the students, you know. And if you look at the table, you know, suppose you are working for this particular school as a as an administrator here, you know, what kind of informations you would need, what kind of information you would store about a student? You would store the student's name, you know, you would store the student's address, you know. You may also need key in which in which class he's studying, what subjects they are studying, you know. And you might also store the student's registration number, you know, because you can have multiple students with the same name, you know. So if you want to uniquely identify them, you know, you might require the student registration number as well, you know. Similarly, suppose if you are working in the sports department, you know, there also you might need access to the information, you might need access to the information of the students, you know. And if you have to store information, you know, you would again make some tables, you know, and your table would again contain name of the student, you know, the class in which he is studying, the sports they are playing, you know. And again you will face the same problem, you know, ki they might be similar students, they might be students with the same name, you know. So you will have, you will also need their what your registration number as well, you know. You would also include a column called registration number, you know. Same will be for the third department as well, for the academics, you know. They would also need the name of the student, you know. They would also store the registration number of the student, you know, the standard in which they are studying, and the subjects allotted to them, isn't it? So if you look in these three tables, you know, can we establish any kind of relation between these three tables? By establishing a relation, what I mean is, like suppose if the academic department wants to know, if the academic department wants to know ki, a student which is present in row 1, and the student which is listed in row number 1 is playing which sport, you know, is playing which sport. So what would they do? They would go and ask the sports department, isn't it? A sports department, how will they figure out how would they figure out this answer? They would ask they would ask yes, no, no, yes, and they would
Student
ask the,
ID, sir.
yes, and they would ask the student ID from the academic department, and they will look at in their database, and if they find this a student, they will return the sports which is being played by them, you know. So here, to answer this simple question, you know, you had to look into two tables, you know, and to uniquely identify the data point, you had to establish a relation between them, you know. And in order to establish this unique relation, you know, in order to return this unique result that was required, you know, you used a common table which was you used a common column which was present in both, है ना, which was the registration, है ना. यही करेंगे ना कि registration number check करेंगे, और उसके बाद हम लोग उसमें से जो भी sports खेलता है registered होगा तो हम उसे बता देंगे, है ना. We'll send back the result of this query, है ना. So really in relational database, what happens? You look for the common data points which are present in both the tables, है ना. And depending on this commonality, you establish a relation between these two tables or multiple tables at once, है ना. And you answer a question है ना, by aggregating the results from two or more tables at once, है ना. So, acha, I have a question again. Is it necessary that the name of the column should be exactly the same? Like suppose in the academic department, they had they might write registration number, है ना. Like just one second, I'm sharing my screen again. like in the academic department, can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose the academic department has noted the registration number like this. They have given the column name as registration number. Okay. And the the sports department, they have written like this: reg.num dot. Okay. They both mean the same thing. But are these the same? The name of the columns, to a human, these two are same. Registration number and this registration number. I've written in short. To a human, to you and me. These are same. But if you're working with a software, these two entries would be different, isn't it? reg.num dot is not same as registr space number, isn't it? So, agar if you want to establish a relationship, how would you tell? Would we look at the name of the column, or should we look at the values which are present in the column?
Values, sir.
Like suppose your you have some values like 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9. Okay. And in the second one, you all again have, then okay. So if you want to establish a relationship between these two, between these two tables, so what would we look at? We would look at, first of all, we look at whether the name of the columns are same or not, अगर same है तब तो हमारे लिए आसान हो जाता है ना, figure out करना कि whether they will contain the same kind of information or not, अगर नहीं तो हम लोग next क्या करते हैं, अपनी values compare करते हैं ना, कि इसमें हमारे पास we have the values as 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 4, 4, 7. In the second sheet also you are looking at some kind of numbers, and you see a common entry over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on this value, you can establish a relationship between these two tables. So whatever the name of the student is, and his grade, कि 8th grade में पढ़ता है ना, और जो है subject let's say PCB के student है ना, you can figure it out, है ना. यहाँ पे आपके पास कुछ भी suppose entry is the name of the student, है ना, उसकी जो है कैटेगरी एंड सो ऑन, है ना, उसका ग्रेड, है ना. बट आप किस में देख के इंटरेस्टेड हो जाओगे? आपको जैसे ये 1, 2, 3, 4 दिखेगा, है ना, दिस यूनिक एंट्री, है ना, यू विल फिगर आउट कि दिस इज द स्टूडेंट व्हिच यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन, है ना. राम स्टडीज इन क्लास 8th, है ना, एंड प्लेज बास्केटबॉल, है ना. So depending on the value which was present in the column, on this unique values of the column, you can establish a relation between these two tables. So so what we mean by establishing the relation between these two tables, they have some common values associated between them, and because of this commonality, we can aggregate the information which is present in both these sheets, in both these in these two different tables, and aggregate them as a single table, to answer a specific kind of question, for which we might need to refer to different tables. Okay, so यही चीज है ना. अच्छा, Excel sheet से, है ना, if you're working with an Excel sheet, can you aggregate these directly? Can you aggregate the two different sheets? If you're working in a single file, you may, but suppose if you have two different set of files, if you have two different files, then would you be able to aggregate them so easily?
No,
Like,
sir.
no,
So
so
not
these are
easily,
some.
but we can access.
We can merge
You can,
both.
you can. I'm not saying that it is not possible, but it is not easy, so so to overcome this, when you have large amount of data which might be related, which may be related to each other, and still you are storing them in the form of tables, but you need a better management system, because you'll be working with multiple files, so you need to have a system where using which you can access them you can access those information, the data that you have, and establish relations between them, aggregate them, and then present your information, present the answer that you are looking for, and maybe store them also for later use. So to perform all of this, we have your RDBMS. We have relational database management systems. So just like every other software, if you need to interact with it, you need to give it command. You need to give it some command. And whatever command we give to the computer, उसको क्या होना चाहिए? It should understand it, and it is always standardized. So to interact with any RDBMS, we have a standard language which is called SQL. SQL, structured query language. Why query? Because you'll be asking the question. You'll be referring to the tables. So you'll be that is called querying the table to retrieve the information. And standard क्यों? So that whatever be the company, whatever software you are using, there should be some commonality between them. There should be the standardization of the process, in which the information will be retrieved. So the standard language that is used is your SQL. But obviously, since we are living in a competitive world, there are different companies, which are competing against each other, making similar products. Like Google Sheet is competing with Microsoft Excel. They are both doing the same thing, but they have their own way of implementing the things, isn't it? They have their own way of implementing the functions. Similarly, you have different RDBMSs present in present among you, present among us, like your Oracle MySQL, or it may be your Postgres made by Google. There may be your MS, your SQL, sorry, this database management system made by MS, MS SQL, MS Access, so on. हमें क्या करना है? What we will be focusing on, we'll learn one standard, we'll learn one RDBMS system, which is your MySQL, and we'll see how the commands are implemented in it. And then if you want, you can use the same commands in the other RDBMS as well. But you might have to change, you might have to tweak a little bit of the syntax. Like when you'll be talking about the joins, you will see that in MySQL the full outer join doesn't work, but in Postgres it works. तो ऐसी छोटी छोटी कुछ चीजें जो है बस डिफर करती हैं. These small things are just what is differing between these two softwares, between the software systems made by different companies. But the core, the core thought, and the process remains the same. Okay. So the RDBMS that we'll be working on with is your MySQL. So obviously, why we are choosing MySQL? Because it is open source, so we can use it for free. So as a learner, हमें जो क्या करना है, अभी जो है अपने MySQL को डाउनलोड और जो है इंस्टॉल करना है ना. So MySQL कहाँ से इंस्टॉल करेंगे और डाउनलोड करेंगे? उसकी वेबसाइट से. ओके, MySQL डाउनलोड्स पे आप चले जाओ. Everyone is with all of you are with your laptops. You all are carrying your laptops with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then just quickly download this. Download the SQL SQL version and start working with it. So MySQL community downloads, install, jump out cloud. So when you are searching here, MySQL download, just go to this MySQL installer, and then download the community version, which is free. depending on your system, download the compatible one. You know. If you want, you can download the installer or you can download the full version. You know. It will take a few minutes. You know. So just go and download this one. You know. The full version. And otherwise ये आप install करो क्या होगा वही installation के time में download करेगा. There's no difference. You know. Either spend your time
कम्युनिटी
here or
सर्वर वाला
later.
करना है ना सर डाउनलोड?
सर ये वाला
कम्युनिटी
जो
सर्वर
है
वाला
ऐसी सर्वर वाला नहीं करना है ना. सर्वर पे हम लोग काम नहीं कर रहे. That's why I'm not going to say कि सर्वर वाला एडिशन आप डाउनलोड करो. है ना. Download this one simply. MySQL installer 8.0. ठीक है. And if you wish to install a earlier version, you know, you can go to the archives. You know. And after you are done downloading this, we need again a tool to interact with it. You know, so हमें workbench भी download करनी है इसके बाद. है ना. जैसे Python में हमें कोड करने के लिए फिर आप लोगों ने ID डाउनलोड की होगी, VS Code, Jupyter. है ना. Similarly, if you want to work with MySQL, है ना, we need an interface, a GUI application which is a workbench. Sorry.
सर लॉगिन मांग रहा है उसमें.
शेयर करो screen, देखो क्या कर रहे हो.
वहाँ पे जस्ट स्टार्टेड माय डाउनलोड है सब नीचे, वहाँ से हो जाएगा.
सर 64 बिट के लिए अवेलेबल नहीं बता रहा
हम्म. 64 बिट नहीं है, 32 बिट ही है. उसके लो.
नो थैंक्स लिखा है.
अकाउंट इस पे नहीं है तो आप साइन अप करना है तो कर लो, नहीं करना है तो नो थैंक्स कर दो. है ना. साइन अप करोगे तो वही आपके ईमेल एड्रेस पे जो उसके प्रोडक्ट्स के प्रमोशंस आते रहेंगे. यही है.
सर. हो गया.
डाउनलोड हो गया हो तो उसको डबल क्लिक करके प्लीज इंस्टॉलेशन उसका शुरू कर दो. और इंस्टॉल करने के बाद इसको भी अपने पाथ वेरिएबल में जो है सिस्टम एनवायरनमेंट के पाथ वेरिएबल में ऐड कर लेना.
सर ये चूज सेटअप टाइप कौन सा सेलेक्ट करना है इसके अंदर?
एक सेकंड, कोई एक जन जो अपनी स्क्रीन शेयर कर लो. मेरे पे ऑलरेडी इंस्टॉल्ड है, मुझे इंस्टॉल अनइंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा. आप लोग को गाइड कर दूंगा ऐसे साथ साथ. एनीवन प्लीज शेयर योर स्क्रीन इफ यू हैव फिनिश्ड डाउनलोडिंग. किसी का डाउनलोड फिनिश हो गया है तो अपने प्लीज स्क्रीन शेयर कर लेना.
So my download is finished, but it's saying there is no application set to open document.
Let me see what you have downloaded. Karan, can you share your screen?
Yes, sir. So it's saying this.
So you are using a Mac.
Yes, sir.
So this is for the version that you have downloaded It is for your Windows. That's why.
Okay.
This is an executable file. It's not gonna run on this.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So just search MySQL for this for Mac and
Okay.
for iOS.
Okay, sir.
Anyone else?
सर ये choosing a setup type में developer और server only क्या करे सर client full
सौरभ अगर स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकते हो तो प्लीज शेयर कर लेना.
और ये देखिए सर
देखो जब भी आप लोगों ने डाउनलोड के बाद क्लिक किया होगा तो ये स्क्रीन ओपन हुई होगी. Yes or no? You all must have seen this screen opening when you are
Yes, sir.
after your download is finished. So here what you can do, either you can it is giving you multiple options, ki as a developer you want to use it, or you want to use it only as a server or just a client, or you want a full installation of the products or a custom installation. So go for the full installation. Okay, and click on next. And yeah, so whatever requirements are not satisfied, it will prompt you. So it is asking a version must be installed. So what you can do if you want, you can download this VS Studio,
है सर
and
VS Studio
MySQL for visuals. हाँ उसमें जो है ना आपका इसको yes click कर दो आप,
हाँ सर
resolve it automatically.
execute करो
Execute.
उसके बाद क्या सर वर्कबेंच डाउनलोड करो
Workbench already इसके साथ downloaded है, it will install it.
और ये सर
अगर
यहाँ
हम लोग जो है सिर्फ उसका सर्वर इंस्टॉल किए होते तो वर्कबेंच साथ में नहीं होती. It will take some time. ठीक है,
ओके सर
it will take some time for the installation to finish, but when you are done, आप लोग को जो है क्या करना है, MySQL को अपने पाथ वेरिएबल में जो है सिस्टम एनवायरनमेंट के पाथ वेरिएबल में ऐड करना है, और उसके बाद यहाँ पे अपने कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट पे आओगे, MySQL देन यू, ठीक है, रूट देन पी. ये आपको जो रूट यूजर बनाने को भी अभी प्रॉम्प्ट करेगा आपको, जब आपका ये इंस्टॉलेशन चल रहा है ना, तो रूट यूजर जो आप बनाओगे उसका नेम और पासवर्ड याद रखना, बिकॉज इट विल बी यूज फॉर स्टार्टिंग योर सर्वर ऑन द लोकल होस्ट. To start your server on the local host, all you need to do is you need to type this command mysql u root p, then type whatever password you have given, and it should display. अगर आपका सब चीज सही है, आपने पासवर्ड वगैरह सब सही डाला है, तो यहाँ पे आपको इस तरह से लिख के आएगा वेलकम टू MySQL monitor. ठीक है, this means now my local host, my server has started on the local host, and I can start using it. Okay, so to work with MySQL, either you can use this command line interface, this CLI, or you can use the GUI. To use the GUI, what we need is, we need a software called Workbench. So just during the installation only, and it will be installed, just type Workbench, and then here when you'll open it, you'll get a page like this. You will not have so many connections that you are looking over here. You will have only one connection named local instance MySQL. Just click on that, and it will ask you for the password. So whatever password you have set, आप उसको जो है टाइप करोगे. ठीक है, and just run it. Sorry.
सर कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट वाला पार्ट एक बार रिपीट हो सकता है?
कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट पे आपको ये टाइप करना है, MySQL -u root -p, ठीक है। लेकिन ये तभी चलेगा जब आपने अपने एनवायरनमेंट में, है ना, जो सॉरी अपने सिस्टम एनवायरनमेंट में ये पाथ MySQL का ऐड कर दिया होगा, है ना। जैसे
सर कर दिया
पाइथन
है।
को आपको, है ना, पाइथन का याद है, इंटरप्रेटर में इंस्टॉल कर जो स्टार्ट करना होता है तो पाइथन सिंपली टाइप करते हैं तो रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करता है, एनवायरनमेंट में जाके ऐड कर देते हैं। वैसे यहाँ पे भी आपको इसको ऐड करना पड़ेगा। किसको क्या करोगे, जो इसका बिन फोल्डर है उसको जाके ऐड करना होता है, ठीक है। सो जहां पे भी आपने इंस्टॉल किया है MySQL, जिस भी लोकेशन पे, C ड्राइव पे, D ड्राइव पे, E ड्राइव पे, व्हाटएवर, आपको उसमें फोल्डर में जाना है MySQL, देन इन दैट गो टू द बिन फोल्डर। बिन फोल्डर को ओपन करना, उसका पाथ आप जो है सिस्टम एनवायरनमेंट में अपने ऐड कर लेना, ठीक है।
सर ये टाइप ऑफ नेटवर्किंग में नेम्ड पाइप और शेयर्ड मेमोरी में क्लिक करना है क्या?
एक मिनट अपनी स्क्रीन फिर से शेयर करना सौरभ।
ये देखिए सर।
Shared memory, show advanced logging, no, not required। जो है उसको एज इट इज छोड़ दो।
ये इसमें ही कुछ करना है सर क्लिक?
नेक्स्ट करो।
यहाँ पे सर अपना आईडी पासवर्ड।
ये आगे हम लोग पढ़ेंगे, जो है इसमें जो है नेटवर्किंग जो है ना, ये क्या रहती है, कैसे
तो
उसको जो है बात करेंगे।
इसमें भी क्या करना है सर इसमें?
नहीं ठीक है, स्ट्रॉन्ग उसको जो है स्ट्रॉन्ग पासवर्ड वाले चूज कर लो। अब यहाँ पे जो रूट पासवर्ड डालोगे इसको याद रखना, भूलना मत, है ना। इसी को आपको यूज करके लॉग इन करना है, ठीक है। सेट
तो
योर
सर
सेट योर
अगर
रोल
यहाँ पे
एंड
जब
पासवर्ड।
पासवर्ड, सर यहाँ पे अगर पासवर्ड डाल देंगे तो सीएमडी में भी डालना पड़ेगा फिर पासवर्ड वही सेम?
हाँ यही सेम है ना। आपको सर्वर स्टार्ट करके उस पर लॉग इन करना है, तो लॉग इन एज ए रूट यूजर आप करोगे तो ये रूट पासवर्ड आपको जो है डालना होगा, है ना।
ठीक है सर।
सो रिमेम्बर दिस पार्ट, पासवर्ड।
ओके सर।
सर मेरे में एक इशू आ रहा है इसका, तो स्पीच है ना।
श्योर, उत्कर्ष शेयर कर लो। क्या हुआ? सैंपल एंड एग्जांपल्स रिकॉन्फ़िगर, क्वेश्चन रिकॉन्फ़िगर पे क्लिक कर लो, देख लो क्या दिक्कत है।
सर इसमें कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में भी कुछ सेलेक्ट करना है सर, राइटिंग कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फाइल, अपडेटिंग विंडोज फाइल, फायरवॉल रूल्स।
तो सर ये ओपन कहाँ पे होगा भी ऐसे? और सर ये ओपन कहाँ से करा हुआ ये MySQL?
क्या जी, सॉरी आपकी ऑडियो ब्रेक हो रही है।
सर ये ओपन किधर होगा MySQL, जैसे कि अब इंस्टॉल हो गया इसमें?
डाउनलोड्स आपका तो ओपन, डाउनलोड आपने कर लिया ना, फिर
हाँ सर
इंस्टॉलेशन आप
डाउनलोड।
शुरू ही किए थे, है
हाँ
ना।
इंस्टॉलेशन हो गया।
इसको क्लिक करो, क्लिक करो इसे।
सर हेलो
हम्म
सर, ये अप्लाई कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में जैसे लॉग कॉन्फ़िगरेशन स्टेप्स के अंदर भी कुछ क्लिक करने हैं क्या, और जैसे राइटिंग कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, अपडेटिंग विंडोज फायरवॉल रूल्स?
नहीं, कुछ क्लिक नहीं करना।
ये
ये जब
ओपन
ओपन करो तो क्या दे रहा है, ठीक है, MySQL डॉक्यूमेंट, ये सैंपल एंड एग्जांपल्स को रिकॉन्फ़िगर करने को बोल रहा है आपको बार बार। आपका इंस्टॉलेशन हो चुका है क्या, पहले इंस्टॉल किया था क्या कभी?
नहीं सर अभी इंस्टॉल किया मैंने।
ये रिकॉन्फ़िगर पे क्लिक करो एक बार, देखो क्या दे रहा है, जो ब्लू में बना हुआ है रिकॉन्फ़िगर। नो कंपैटिबल, सो यू नीड टू कैंसिल दिस एंड इंस्टॉल वन, ओके। आपका सर्वर इंस्टॉल ही नहीं हुआ है। जो भी आपने इंस्टॉलेशन किया है ना, उसको एक बार अनइंस्टॉल करो, ठीक है।
हाँ, same error I getting so.
Sir, same for me also, sir.
हाँ हाँ यार, ये थोड़ा सा जो है परेशान करता है सीक्वल को का इंस्टॉलेशन।
सर मेरे उसमें बिन फोल्डर नहीं आ रहा है सर उसके अंदर।
एक काम करो
Same
आप
with
सभी
me.
लोग, क्योंकि एक एक पर्सन का ऐसे जो है हम लोग को इंस्टॉलेशन देखने में ना बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा। जिसके जिसके जो है एरर आ रहे हैं, जो जो एरर आ रहे हैं उसका स्क्रीनशॉट लेके आप लोग ना व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे एक बार शेयर कर दो, ठीक है। सबका वहां पे एक साथ जो है सबको रिजॉल्व करते जाएंगे, ठीक है। सिमिलर जिसके केसेस होंगे, है ना, तो किसी एक पर्सन के लिए भी अगर हमने किया है तो आप लोग प्लीज उस स्टेप्स को फॉलो कर लेना, ठीक है। उसके बाद भी नहीं होता है तो आप लोग जो है एक बार बता देना, ठीक है। फिर से स्क्रीन अपनी जो है शेयर करके, मतलब सॉरी स्क्रीन शेयर कर, मतलब उसका स्क्रीनशॉट वहाँ पे ग्रुप में शेयर कर देना, ठीक है। अदरवाइज जो है यहाँ
सर
पे
मेरे तो
दिक्कत।
इंस्टॉलेशन तो हो गया है सर, पर ना जो उसके अंदर सी ड्राइव के अंदर मैं देख रहा हूँ फोल्डर MySQL वाला, तो उसके अंदर सर है ना वो बिन फोल्डर शो नहीं हो रहा है सर मुझे।
ठीक है, ठीक है, चलो स्टेप्स आप लोग को जो है ना एक बना के
सर मेरा हो
स्टेप
गया
बाय
सर।
स्टेप क्या क्या करना है वो फाइल भी आप लोग को कर दूंगा, ठीक है। जिसका हो गया अच्छी बात है, नहीं हुआ है किसी का किसी पॉइंट अटक रहा है तो उसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, ग्रुप में पुट कर दो, विल हेल्प यू आउट, ठीक है।
सर एक डाउट है, एक बार स्क्रीन शेयर करूं क्या?
श्योर।
सर आई थिंक उत्कर्ष स्टॉप शेयरिंग करेगा तभी हो पाएगा।
उत्कर्ष प्लीज स्टॉप शेयरिंग योर स्क्रीन।
सर जैसे ये वाले CMD में लिखना है सर, या फिर डायरेक्ट अपना जो कंप्यूटर का है उसका?
यार कंप्यूटर का जो कमांड लाइन है,
इसमें
CMD
नहीं,
जो है कंप्यूटर का है। ये क्या चीज है
वो
जो
सर
ओपन हुआ था?
इसमें डायरेक्ट SQL से ही ओपन हुआ था सर।
वो उसकी CLI है ना।
ओके।
जैसे अपनी पाइथन की आइडियली खुलती है, उसका जो है कंसोल खुलता है, वैसे ये सीक्वल का था। स्पेस मत दो मई के बाद। माई सीक्वल, सुनो, माई सीक्वल के बाद जो हाइफन लगाया है उसे डिलीट करो, स्पेस अब यहाँ पे दो, डैश यू, यू का मतलब यूजर, ठीक है। अब यूजर का नाम दो, किससे लॉगिन करना चाहते हो, रूट यूजर, ठीक है। डैश पी, पी फॉर पासवर्ड, एंटर करो, है ना। आपका भी ये एडेड नहीं है पाथ वेरिएबल में, ठीक है।
तो सर ये जैसे यहाँ पे देखिए ये पाथ वेरिएबल का ही हुआ ना सर?
करो, कनेक्ट करोगे तो कनेक्शन स्टैब्लिश नहीं होगा, सर्वर में पहले और चालू करना पड़ेगा ना। करो, करो, पासवर्ड डालो, जो भी डाला है देखो।
हो गया सर। हेलो।
ठीक है, अगर हो गया तो अच्छी बात है, ठीक है।
ये नॉर्मल है ना सर, ये मतलब?
सर्वर स्टेटस पे एक बार क्लिक, मैनेजमेंट में, मैनेजमेंट में वो सर्वर स्टेटस पे एक बार क्लिक करना।
हाँ सर्वर स्टेटस में किया सर।
परफॉर्मेंस की ऑन, ओके, थ्रेड पुल ऑन, ठीक है, रनिंग, ओके। किस पोर्ट पे रन कर रहा है आपका? ठीक, MySQL प्रोग्राम डेटा, MySQL, ये जो तुम्हारा दिया है ना पाथ या कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फाइल वाला,
हाँ सर।
है ना, इसी पाथ पे जाके इसको ऐड कर लेना अपना उसमें, पाथ वेरिएबल में, है ना। तो उसी कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट से भी आपका चालू हो जाएगा। चलो ठीक है,
ठीक है,
ये
ओके
चल रहा है। तो अब इसके बाद हमें क्या करना है, क्वेरीज, है ना,
सर।
क्वेरीज लिखनी है। चलो,
सर तो ये
सक्सेसफुली जिसका भी इंस्टॉल हो जाएगा, सबको इस तरह से वर्क बेंच जो ओपन करके देखना, ये ऐसे ओपन होगा कुछ, ठीक है।
सर अगर ये ऐड भी
और
करें
इसमें
पाथ तो सर चलेगा?
नहीं करते तो चलेगा, तो भी चलेगा, चल तो अभी भी रहा
ठीक
है
है
ना।
सर।
वर्कbench से कनेक्ट कर लोगे, है ना, वहां से बस नहीं यूज कर पाओगे आप,
ठीक है,
ठीक है।
ओके। ठीक है, थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है। तो
मेरे को
क्या
इरर फिर आ
सर
रहा
मैं
है।
करूँ एक बार स्क्रीन शेयर?
देखो, जिसका नहीं हो रहा है इंस्टॉल, आप लोग अपने जो है स्क्रीनशॉट लेके एक बार ग्रुप में डाल दो, ठीक है? विल हेल्प यू आउट देयर। और कितने लोग हैं जिनका इंस्टॉलेशन सक्सेसफुल हुआ, सक्सेसफुली आप लोगों ने इंस्टॉल कर लिया?
सर इसके अंदर पाथ वो बिन
भाई
फोल्डर को काम
पर्सनली
आएगा?
यहाँ पे पर्सनल डीएम मत करो, पर्सनल डीएम करोगे आई वोंट बी एबल टू रिप्लाई बैक, है ना? ग्रुप में कह रहा हूँ डालने को। ग्रुप में आपको जो है सपोर्ट में जितने भी लोग हैं दे विल हेल्प यू आउट, ठीक है? पर्सनल डीएम करोगे, अब 20-25 लोग के एक साथ आएंगे, सबको फिर टाइम लगेगा एक एक आदमी को रिस्पॉन्ड करने में, फिर कहोगे कि जो है सर ने रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया, है ना? तो पर्सनल डीएम मत करो। ओके, somebody was saying something. How many of you are done with the installation? Just type in the chat box if you're done. Okay. ठीक है, शुभम, सौरभ, उज्जवल, रक्षा। आईफोन आईफोन कौन है भाई, नाम बता देना। And what about the rest? People is done. तो 6-7 लोगों के हुए, बाकी लोग कहाँ हो?
सर मेरा
Okay,
नहीं हुआ है सर, शुभम।
तो जिसका
Sir, I am
जिसका भी
getting
नहीं
error.
हुआ है, या whatever error you are getting, please take a screenshot of it and share in the group. And right now वैसे बता दो यार क्या आ रहा है error. Tell me what you are
Connect
getting
to server, sir. They are
सर
asking
विच ग्रुप
username
सर?
and password.
in your WhatsApp groups, है ना?
सर
सर
नो
यू आर
कॉम।
नॉट इन ग्रुप सर?
अरे कोई नहीं, बाकी लोग हैं ना, they will help you out, don't worry, है ना?
Sir, actually, I'm getting the error no compatible servers were found. You will need to cancel this wizard and install one.
Okay, Shubham, can you show me what you are getting? Share your screen, please.
Sir, this one I'm getting.
ओके करना एक बार। एक काम करो, इसको जो है ना वापस
Same,
जो
sir.
भी
Same
इंस्टॉल,
I am facing.
या इसको अनस्टॉल करना, वापस से रीट्राई करो, प्लीज
Okay, sir.
रीट्राई इट अगेन, है ना? प्रोग्राम जो प्रोग्राम अनस्टॉल वाला रहता है ना, बस वहां से जाके जो है इसको अनस्टॉल करो पूरा, उसके बाद दोबारा से जो है ट्राई करना,
Okay, sir.
है ना? Okay, class timings will be from 6:30 to 7:30, है ना, for the next 2 weeks. Or if required, we will see. I'm thinking of taking a class on Sunday as well, if possible, है ना? Sunday को थोड़ा सा जो है टाइम ज्यादा दे लेंगे, okay? And as for now, इंस्टॉलेशन अगर हो गया आपका तो ठीक है, आप जा सकते हो। नहीं हुआ है तो आप स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो और प्लीज व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में जो है शेयर करो, विल हेल्प यू आउट, है ना? एंड टुमारो वी हैव टू इंश्योर दैट our installations are done so that we can start writing the queries, है ना? एंड स्टिल अगर अपने एंड पे थोड़ा सा फिगर आउट करना है ना, तो क्या कर सकते हो, कोई भी यूट्यूब पे या गूगल पे जो है आप एक बार थोड़ा सा सर्च कर लेना, है ना, इंस्टॉलेशन का प्रोसेस, है ना? या फिर जो ये माई सीक्वल समथिंग करके है यार, क्या उसकी वेबसाइट का नाम है, mysql.org, उस पे जो उसकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन को एक बार प्लीज रेफर कर लेना। इंस्टॉलेशन में अगर इश्यूज आ रहे हैं तो वहाँ पे जो कॉमन इश्यूज है वो एड्रेस्ड है ऑलरेडी, है ना? तो एक बार उसको रेफर कर लेना, नहीं होता है तो कोई नहीं, विल हेल्प यू, है ना? और उसके बाद भी अगर नहीं होता है इंस्टॉलेशन इन सच केसेस, तो कोई ऑनलाइन जो है कंपाइलर हम लोग, सॉरी, कोई ऑनलाइन जो है क्वेरी एडिटर हम लोग यूज कर लेंगे जिसको इंस्टॉल करने की जरूरत ना पड़े, ठीक। बट प्रेफर्ड है कि हमारे सिस्टम पे जो है वर्क बेंच इंस्टॉल्ड हो और हम अपने लोकल एनवायरनमेंट पे कर रहे हो, ठीक है। बिकॉज द ऑनलाइन वर्क these online editors, these are all configured in different ways. हर एक वेबसाइट वाले ने अपने हिसाब से कॉन्फ़िगर कर रखा है. Some queries will run in one, the others might not. ठीक है. So चलो कल मिलते हैं, है ना. और जो भी इंस्टॉलेशन में इशू हो रहा है आप लोग प्लीज ग्रुप पे शेयर करना और वहाँ पे मैसेज कर देना, ठीक है. इन केस अगर मैं किसी ग्रुप में नहीं हूँ तो आप रिक्वेस्ट कर देना वहाँ पे कि मुझे भी ऐड कर दें, ठीक है. जस्ट ड्रॉप अ मैसेज टू ऐड मी, ठीक है.
सर
चलो
वो
सी यू ऑल
कमेंट किया था
टुमारो.
सर, वो कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट वाला
क्या?
आर रूट वाला था ना सर कुछ?
हाँ, वो जो है सर्वर आपका जो है स्टार्ट करने के लिए क्या लिखते हो, MySQL -u root -p, ठीक है. और अगर आपके जो पाथ एनवायरनमेंट पे नहीं हो रहा है तो एक काम ये भी कर सकते हो, जो बिन फोल्डर है उसके पाथ पे, उसकी डायरेक्टरी पे आप जो वहां पे पहले अपनी डायरेक्टरी चेंज कर लो और वहां से फिर वहां पे फिर जाके जो है डायरेक्टरी चेंज करने के बाद व्हेन यू आर इन द सेम फोल्डर, है ना, देन टाइप दिस कमांड, ठीक है. ओके, सो एवरीवन please try to get your get this software set up by tomorrow, you know, and we'll meet again at 6:30, you know, and we'll start with the CRUD operation. We'll discuss about the different type of different type of commands, you know, which are present in SQL, you know, ADDL क्या होती है, TCL क्या होती है, and so on, है ना, and then we'll see how we can use them. Okay, चलो, so see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.